Welcome back to my channel. In this video I want to talk about holsters for fluffy people, and thank you Gabriel Iglesias for that whole concept of being fluffy, not just plain fat, right? Well, I'm a little bit overweight. You can tell by looking, and I'm giving you the whole picture right now, right? So I've come up with some solutions that I think are really good for not only deep conceal, but some EDC solutions that I think are really good. At least they work for me. I just thought I'd share those with you because, you know, it's hard for us to find holsters, especially if you're a little bit overweight. If I could appendix carry, so help me, I would. I think it's a great place to carry. It's nice and easy to get to. Man, if I've got to reach all the way around my body to grab my shirt, pull it up, to grab the holster, which is kind of where I'm at now, that's a little tougher for me to do. So, you know, what are some of my options that I use? Again, everything from deep conceal options to just an EDC kind of carry, slightly modified holster that I've been kind of playing around with and I really like. So I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about holsters for people who are a little bit overweight and some of the solutions that might make carrying on an everyday basis a little bit easier. Before we start, the first three holsters I want to talk about are really non-conventional holsters. So if you're a holster guy, or you're a guy that takes holsters to the range, you're an ex-law enforcement or law enforcement, or you're a trainer, guys, I realize these first three holsters are not going to be your best options, nor would they be your first pick. However, that doesn't mean they're not still valid. So I want you just to kind of hang tight with me if you would. Wait till the holster number 4, which will be a more conventional carry holster that you could take to the range or carry with you on an everyday EDC basis. But I want to cover the first 3 because they're deep concealed options, and in some situations they're really good options. For example, if I need to wear slacks and I need to, I'm going to be up in front of people all day, for example, and I need to carry where there's no chance of my shirt popping out and them seeing a handgun, I might choose one of 2 deep conceal options, for example. I'm going to talk about those, talk about some of the pros and cons real quickly. First, before I even do that, I want to make a couple comments. I have some shorts on. Under the shorts, I'm wearing gym shorts. So while I may choose to take my shorts down a little bit, unbuckle, put a holster on, I'm not going to flash anybody. That's not my goal. This is still kind of you know, proof for kids. So realize I have shorts underneath my clothes. Second thing is I want to talk about a couple holsters that I don't use anymore. I'm not going to mention any name brands. If you recognize your brand, I'm sorry. It's just there's reasons why they're not working for me. I'm open to suggestions. Okay, so a couple that I don't use anymore, or don't prefer, or only use sometimes. The first one would be this guy right here. This is a deep concealment holster. It's designed to go around your body. I'm not going to put it on. This is actually for a Glock 42. I don't have a Glock 42 anymore, so I have nothing to put in here. None of my handguns will fit. However, this is for a Glock 42. This is a left-handed holster. This would go around my body, underneath my clothes. This kind of pops up. I can holster my gun. These are actually really nice holsters. It took me about 8 weeks to get these. I've had two of them. The thing that I struggle with on these is my belt tends to hit right here, and which brings me to one of my major problems is that my belt keeps sliding down, so I'm always having to hike my pants up and put receipt where this attaches to my body with respect to my holster. So this is no longer one of my favorite carries. If they would put some kind of material on this Kydex that would allow my gun belt to stick, that would be better. But so far, they have not done that. Oh, and by the way, just really short mention, when I start talking about holsters, it is absolutely imperative you have a good everyday carry gun belt. Gun belts are essential to carrying concealed and carrying it correctly. So good gun belts are really great, and I have one on right now. So this is not my favorite. I have another one here. This is a straight Kydex. I'm not going to talk about the brand. I still like this brand. It's just when I sit down, this is long enough where it kind of digs into me a little bit. This is made for a Smith & Wesson M.2. M.2 compact or a full-size Smith & Wesson. And by the way, I'm going to show you several guns here today. They have all been checked and none of them are loaded. In fact, the first one I'll show you is actually a SIRT pistol that is patterned after a Smith & Wesson or a Smith & Wesson M.2, even has a Picatinny rail, or even a Smith & Wesson compact. That goes in this holster really nicely. Nice, crisp fit, really decent retention. I'm not going to put this particular one on. I've got it set at about a 15-degree cant, which is what I like. This is a really great clip. This clip, once it grabs onto your belt, guys, it's not letting go. So once you put one of these on, they pretty much stay put. I like them. The problem I have with any all Kydex holster is this material in the back is kind of slick. And what happens is it tends to work itself down. My belt tends to drop a little bit and I'm having to pull my pants up, which is part of the problem, right? So I still will use these every now and then. I have one for my my shield that I absolutely love. This is a little bit big, but the one for my shield really fits well, and it will also fit my EZ, not as well, but enough to where I get good retention, and the gun still goes in the holster. Again, I quit using straight Kydex because I keep having to hike my pants up, which is part of the problem of fluffy people, right? Okay. And then the third, and I'm going to be honest, I still carry this sometimes. And I will mention, because I do carry this sometimes, this is a Gaucho. This fits my M&P shield. I have the original shield. It would also fit the newer shield. Nice 15-degree cant, I think it is. Good retention. Comes out nicely. My problem with these is I'm really not a fan of double clip holsters. This does fit my body well. I don't have to pull my pants up quite as much with this one because of the leather backing, but still, you know, it's just not as comfortable, and if I'm wearing it for all day, I tend to have to hike my pants up just because of the weight. It just doesn't snug in there as nice as I would like it to. So I still do use this holster sometimes, but not always. So when we talk about deconceal, the first one I really want to talk about that really does work for me, and there's several different variants of this out there. This is called Smart Carry. It is for a groin carry. So you would say put your handgun in this pouch. It doesn't really have proper trigger retention, but I've never had a problem with catching on anything. And I can, although I'm not going to put this particular one on, I can put this on, you know, down about right here and strap around my body, and I can go in and I can get the gun, and I can bring it out and use it. This also has a place for a mag pouch, so you can put an extra magazine in here. Now, I would not carry this big a handgun in a groin carry. Probably what I'm really going to do is I'm going to carry something along the line of my Taurus. If I put the Taurus in here, what you'll see is I've got about that much room between the bottom of this barrel and my holster, so if I have to put it down here in a deep conceal and I sit down, I'm not hitting the end of the gun. That's what would happen if I tried to do a full-size Smith & Wesson or even my 2.0 compact. It just, every time I sit down, it's not comfortable. This Taurus, which is similar size to a Glock 26 or a 6 Sauer P365, or you know, it's a little bigger than a Glock 43. M&P shield would be fine, such as this. M&P shield, that would go in here just fine. Again, if you need to carry, if I'm going to be standing up in front of people all day, not doing a lot of sitting, but mostly standing, and I want a comfortable carry, if I need to go really deep, and I'm wearing something like slacks, probably not Levi's, but slacks or dress pants, and I need to do a full tuck around this, this is probably one of my choices that I might use. And I have used this in the past. I've actually been pretty successful carrying this way. No one's going to know, and yet the gun, all I need to do is go into my belt, grab it, come out with it. It's really easy to come out with, and you're good to go. Just remember, always keep your finger off the trigger till you're ready to fire the gun. It's not hard to get used to. There are some variants of this by other companies that have a little bit of trigger space in here for the trigger to protect that a little bit better. For different magazine options, I think some of them are even coming with magazine options on both sides. There's a bunch of different variants of this. This is by Smart Carry. There's some other companies out there. If you want to try this, guys, it's worth the investment to try it. This has really worked well for me. So that's if I want to go with a really deep carry. My next one that I want to talk about is by a company called Brave Response. And this particular holster is really great because this will carry anything I have in my arsenal. So if I want to carry my full-size Smith, and of course again this is my SIRT pistol, or like my 2.0 compact, you can see this goes in there real nicely. And I've got room on each side for magazines, or magazine and flashlight, or flashlight and knife, or whatever I want to carry, I can carry in these two pouches. Brave Response is a company, I believe it's a veteran that owns it. I really had a lot of fun supporting these guys. I like these holsters, and I am going to go ahead and put this one on, and I'll put it on with this particular handgun if that's okay. So let me go ahead and stand up. And again, guys, I am wearing shorts, so don't get too excited because I'm not going to want to flash anybody, but this goes on so easily. And again, I realize this is not a proper holster for those of you guys. This is not going to be, for example, my range holster, but I'm going to put this on kind of similar to this and position the holster where I want it. I really like 3 o'clock position, to be honest. Don't like 4 o'clock, don't like 4:30. Bring my pants back up and bring my shirt down over the top. And so there you can see that, let me turn and look at my camera. There you can see the holsters on, and you can see I've got just enough of this, of the butt of the gun, where I can reach down, I can get a good purchase on the gun, and I can come out with it. Now, of course, the drawback on this is it's difficult to reholster. We'll talk about reholstering in a minute. But man, this thing is comfortable. It fits my body. It's not contingent on whatever pants I wear. So I can wear slacks, I can wear whatever I want to wear. I can wear jeans. I can still come in here, I can grab the handgun and come out with a viable gun out of a holster. Now, of course, the weakness of these is that it's going to be much more difficult to reholster. Well, I got to tell you, if I get in an altercation, the least of my concerns is probably going to be whether I can reholster or not, just to be honest with you. So again, this is not an option for range day. This is not what I would carry at the range. Never would I do that. This is a holster that I want to carry if I want to go with a fairly deep carry. I want it attached to my body, and I still want to be able to access my gun. It's not the ultimate, all and be all in holsters, but it does work. And here's the cool thing: I can put my EZ from Smith & Wesson right in this pouch. Works just fine. I can put my Taurus right in this pouch. Works just fine. And it does have trigger retention, or not really retention, but it has a place to guard the trigger. Or I can put my smaller shield right in there. So this will handle every handgun I have. Now, this is actually billed as the last holster you'll ever own. Now, I'm a little careful about that because sometimes reholstering is important if I'm going to the range. I will carry this again if I want to do a little bit more of a deep conceal, and I don't want to worry about having the holster on my belt. This is a great option. Again, this is by a company called Brave Response. I actually love this thing. I don't use it every day, but I do carry it periodically depending on how I'm dressed. The next holster I want to talk about is I was looking for a holster for my Taurus, and I know that White Hat Holster Company does have them. I just didn't have the $60 to $65 at the time, and so I was looking for another option that was a little less expensive. And I came across these guys, and it's funny because I looked at it, and I've kind of known about these for a while, but never really put two and two together. And there's several holsters out there that are of the same type. One is Klinger holsters. It never occurred to me why they call it a Klinger holster. Well, the one I was really looking at was put out by a company called Stinky Holsters, and I'll go ahead and grab my Taurus, and this is what this holster is. And there's no straps. The handgun is completely inside the holster, so nothing's going to get up against your body. I got to looking at these, and it was really funny. I was watching a video, and this guy was doing all kinds of calisthenics, running, jumping, 50-yard dash, 100-yard dash, whatever it was. And I think at one point the holster did flop out, and I'm looking at the video going, I'm not doing any of that. I'm 63 years old and kind of a overweight guy. I'm not running anywhere I don't have to run. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be jumping up and down on loading docks. So I thought, maybe this is just a good option. Let's kind of see what it does. So I ordered one, and I got it. And the holster inside is kind of a real soft material. It's not going to wear and tear on your gun a whole lot, I don't think. Outside, it's kind of a sticky material. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool. Let's see what they're like. So I said, okay. So I went ahead and grabbed my holster, threw it on. You just bring it back to where you want it. I'm going to go ahead and set the cant to where I want it, about a 15-degree cant. And guys, the particular handgun now disappears. It's there. I can still get to it. I can bring it out very smoothly. Not great on retention. Okay, about as much as retention as the Brave Response has. But it's right there, and it doesn't move around a whole lot. I mean, I can pretty much go on walks, sit down, stand up, it doesn't really matter. I do find myself periodically having to readjust the cant, so sometimes it'll kind of work its way down a little bit like that. Even that, I can still get to it. But I want the cant, so I'll just reach back and do that. The only thing sticking up above my belt is just the very end of the butt of that gun. So very easy to get in and out. Get out. In, what they'll tell you is if you have to draw the holster, simply take the sticky holster out. Don't try to reholster with the sticky holster in your belt. Put the sticky holster back in, put it back in your belt. Now, if we're talking about one of the bigger handguns like this, I have a son that has a CZ, I think it's a P07. This is actually built for my M.2 compact, so this is about a 1/4 inch further out of the holster than it would normally be. I'll go ahead and put this on. And what happened with my son's CZ, which actually has a compensator on it, so it's long, right? Guys, his gun just disappears. Look at that. The gun just disappears. It's just not, it's not there. I mean, you can't see hide or hair of that thing. So you want to talk about a great concealment option. And again, I know this is not a proper holster, but man, these things work great. I love them. And when I'm going out walking 5, 6, 7 miles, a lot of times, guys, this is my option. Now, I did a couple of things. I bought one of these for every handgun that I have. The reason is because when these guns go back into my safe, they always go back into this sticky holster. The reason I did that is that way when I go in to my safe after my handgun, I never have to worry about touching trigger. So this is actually the natural state. If you go into my safe, all my handguns are in a sticky holster. Man, they're like $30. And I know they're not the proper holster, but I got to tell you, as far as comfortable, I actually was going to go on a walk the other day, and I was actually carrying, I think, this gun. And I thought before I go to the walk, I'll change into one of my other holsters. And it was funny, I'm about halfway through my walk and realized I still had my sticky holster on. And I didn't even realize it was still there. It was so comfortable, man, I forgot all about it. Now this is an easy, it's a light gun anyway. It's pretty long for a 380, but it's still pretty light. Man, I can carry this thing all day. This is my Taurus. A little heavier handgun, goes in the sticky holster. I can carry it all day. And actually the size for my EZ and my Smith & Wesson original shield is the same. Again, goes in, gun pretty much disappears. I can carry the thing all day. So I'm really starting to become a fan. Now, some people use these because this little thing here, they'll put them in their pocket. I am not ready to buy a small 380 and use it as a pocket pistol. I want it in my waistband, not in my pocket. So this is just really a great solution. Just remember, when you take this, if you draw your handgun and you need to put it back in your holster, take the holster out of your waistband, put the handgun back in the holster, trigger's protected, put it back on your waist. This sticky material, you guys, really works, and it really works well. It's impressive. I love it. Well, that's the third holster. None of these holsters are really proper holsters if you're going to have range day or you're going to take a class. So, as many of you may know if you've watched this channel, I'm really a fan of white hat holsters. I love them. The first one I bought was for my EZ, and because I couldn't find any other holsters out there for it, I bought it pretty much young in his career as a gun. And so when I bought this handgun, I couldn't find a holster. I found white hat holsters. I don't remember how. I kind of liked the concept. When I first got the holster, I got this holster and I put my EZ and it kind of flopped around. I thought, man, this doesn't have any retention at all. Then, of course, if you read the instructions, they'll tell you if you just put the holster on, your body up against that holster gives it the retention it needs, and man, it just settled right in there. And in fact, I now have a white hat holster for every handgun that I own. I love those things. They're single clip. The clip stays in pretty good. It's good quality. I have one right here. And so what I did, once I started playing with the, here's my one for my Smith & Wesson Shield, in fact, I think is the one I have here. And again, it's going to use this retention from the underside where this attaches to your body to give you the retention so your gun has good retention. Well, even with the fact I like these a lot, sometimes I still would have to pull them up a little bit and readjust my pants as I was going out through the day. So I thought, wouldn't it be great if there was a material that we could use on these holsters that would make them stay between my belt and my body, that would help these stick a little bit better. And I thought, you know what? How about I order a sticky holster and I cut the holster down and I put some of that material on the inside of this leather, which is actually what I've done. So I ordered a sticky holster. I ordered the largest one I could. In fact, I ordered one that actually fit my son's CZ. He liked it so well, he ordered one of the sticky holsters. And I just took a swath of the material and I hot glue gunned it right onto my white hat holster in the back. And now, here's what I get. When I put this on, first of all, because the retention is right here, because I put this extra layer of padding here, A, it's more comfortable, and B, I get tighter retention because now I'm pushing in not just on the holster but on this pad. So I actually get a little bit better retention, which I think was needed. I love white hat holsters. Retention was, the guns come out like butter, but if you're looking for a little more retention, that's the answer. Put a small piece of material in here, and this is not particularly thin. So when I put this on now, come under here, and I'll just come around here, and I'll strap this thing on like that, adjust it where I want, grab my handgun, drop it in the holster. Now what happens, guys, is this is a good holster, 15-degree cant. I can wear this all day long. It doesn't print, and it doesn't move around. Man, the thing just, it locks in. Now, I like carrying at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock for a rotund guy like myself is more difficult because it could stick out. These things just don't do that. They have a really good retention. They go in real easy. They stay where you put it. And now, because I'm using that sticky material on the inside of the holster locks in really well and is extremely comfortable. So I modified my white hat holster. Sorry, white hat guys, I just had to do it just to see if it would work, and it worked really well. So I ordered, again, a large sticky holster. I got it. I took a special tool and undid all the stitching. I cut it up into smaller chunks. And by the way, you'll notice, and these come off, by the way, really easy. Just tug on them. I made sure that I did not get in the way of the rivets. So I just put a patch about that big on it. And guys, this really helps this everyday EDC white hat holster of mine really stick to my body. This sticky material really does work. So that's kind of what I did to make my EDC a lot easier to carry. And so I'm going to be looking forward to giving this a try over the next several months. I've been wearing it this way for a couple weeks now, and I really like it. So this really helps me use a regular leather backed holster. It gives me some of that sticky material that really adheres to my body between my belt and my undershirt, and allows me to carry and really locks that handgun in there so it doesn't move around at all on me. So I hope that's been a little bit help you guys on some of the holsters. By the way, one of my YouTube callers was asking about the holsters for his G2C. White Hat does make a holster for a G2C. To be honest, I'm actually using my M.2 holster for my G2C. It works just fine. It's probably not the best fit, but it's really workable. Doesn't mess with safety. I've got a safety on this crazy thing. Not real thrilled about having a safety. I'm not a real safety guy. This does have a safety on it, but the holster doesn't interfere with that. But White Hat does make one specifically for this particular handgun. So I kind of merged the technology between sticky and White Hat. I don't know if either company is going to be particularly happy about that, but hey, I'm just telling you what's working for me. So with that said, hopefully I'll see you in the next video.